So in order to tell Unreal what material needs to be referenced, we're going to have to specify that. So we're going to output the information that we need from the landscape material, and we have to do that in our master material. So basically we'll be taking the information from our landscape master material, and we're going to be outputting it to our virtual textures so that they can properly reference that material and apply it onto our objects. So the way that we do that is we double click on our material instance here for our windswept snow, and then we can go down here and we can find our parent material. And if you're still a little confused on parent materials versus material instances, we're going to get a little bit more into that in this lesson. So if we double click on our parent material, you're going to see that this is our parent material, and this has all of the parameters that we have access to in our material instance. And this is a master material from Quixel Megascan. Basically what that means is that any object or material that you import from Quixel Megascans is a material instance. And that's basically what you're seeing here. This is a material instance. So in Unreal, when you create a master material, which is this, and that's just if you go down into your content browser and you right click and you create, you go to materials and textures, and then you just create a material. You're going to create a master material. So when you go into your master material, you can set up your parameters so that you can see this right here is a parameter. And anytime you set up a parameter, you can add constant values, you can do all kinds of stuff in here in these master materials. But when you add a parameter to your master material, which these are all texture parameters, you can then modify those parameters inside of your any material instance which references that master material that you've created. So you can see that we had those parameters here, and we had the roughness, normal, and albedo. In our material, you can see that here we have our albedo, roughness, and our normal. And we also have these other maps, but we're not using those. But we do have those options because we've specified them in our master material. You can also do things like create scalar parameters. So let's say, I'm just going to break this metallic link here, and we're just going to hold S and click. So that's going to create a scalar parameter. And like I said, any parameter that you create in your master material is going to be referenced or set up so that you can modify that parameter when you create a material instance. And that's basically what allows you to modify individual elements in your scene which reference the same master material. So basically the master material is kind of the blueprint or the overall architecture behind a multitude of material instances in your scene, and your material instances are the actual way in which that architecture is applied to your objects in your scene. So I'll just type metallic here, and I'm just going to drag this into the metallic parameter here. So this is a parameter. So now if I were to save this, so I've saved this material, I'm going to go into my windswept snow, and this is a material instance of this master material, remember. Now you can see that my global scalar parameter values, now we suddenly have this metallic value. And I can increase this value if I want to, or do whatever. That's just a basic kind of explanation of how, master materials and material instances are related. So basically anything that we do in this master material will be reflected in every material instance which references that master material. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to rehook this up so that it's what it should be. We'll save it. So before we go into our material settings for our landscape, what I'm going to do is go into my content browser. I'm going to go into my MS presets folder, and this is where all of our master materials are going to be stored. We can go into our MS default material, that stands for Megascan's default material, and this is just our parent material for any Megascan's assets that we're going to be importing into our scene. So instead of actually modifying our Megascan's default material, I'm going to just duplicate this, and I'm going to rename it to, say, for my purposes, I just said MS default material VT2 because I already did a virtual texture in this project previously. That's just going to keep your default material separate from the material that we modify in case, there's some sort of error, or if you don't want to apply runtime virtual texturing to every Megascan's asset in your scene. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to double click on this one, and we can go ahead here and start editing.